I think it's important and maybe should be more encouraged to admit when you don't know something. We live in a world where there are too many people who will refuse to admit when they don't know something. And I'm here to tell you, I don't know. I don't know what it means. I've sat here and stewed on it for a couple of days trying to figure out what it means that Conor Stallions was at the NCAA hearing where it was expected that Michigan was going to hear about the punishment that it was going to be handed down by the NCAA for its sign stealing scandal. I don't know what that means. I have theories, and I don't know that any of them feel like they are the overwhelming favorite in the most likely situation and scenario for why he was there. Because I think the first prevailing thought is that would mean that Conor Stallions might have worked with the NCAA, might have turned over, might have, switched up his allegiances and recognized the errors of his way and helped the NCAA in its investigation against Michigan. I feel like that's as likely as me bumping uglies with Selma Hayek. If you're so dedicated that you're going to write a 600-page manifesto and go on this elaborate sign-stealing operation and then participate in a documentary about how and why you did it, and it was all because I love my mama and my mama loved Michigan football, it feels really unlikely that you're then going to go, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm the bad guy. And I've had this conversation before on the podcast. Very rarely does the bad guy go, oh, wait, I'm the bad guy here. The villain very rarely believes that they are the villain. And I just feel like that's a super unlikely revelation that Conor Stallions has had, that he has seen the errors of his ways, recognized that maybe he was the bad guy. I don't think that that's what happened. I would guess that it's more likely that Conor Stallions went to the hearing with the NCAA as someone hopeful of eventually returning to college football. That his hope is someday I can work in this space that I undoubtedly love. And the only way to do that is to face the music from the NCAA and say, okay, whatever you're going to have to say about me, whatever show cause penalties you're going to lob against me, I'm here for them. I'm ready to take them and face them like a man. And I will sit here and hear what you have to say. That feels like a more likely scenario to me, that despite him putting his allegiance to Michigan again above all else, at the end of the day, we all got to look out for number one, right? We all have to sit here and say, I eventually have to do what's best for me. And if Conor Stallions is looking out for his future job prospects, he's looking out for himself. He's making sure that he gets all of the available options to him somewhere down the line. And if he feels as if the best option to do that is to be at the NCAA headquarters when that hearing happens, that would be a logical thing, right? And then maybe the most logical thing is, if you're willing to write a several 100-page manifesto about how you would run the Michigan football program and also create, organize, and implement an elaborate sign-stealing operation, and then participate in a documentary describing how and why you might have done what you did, maybe, just maybe, Conor Stallions is there as a fan of the Michigan football program and of the people who are going to be allowed into the quote-unquote courtroom that day. He's on that list. And that's why he's there. Is, you know what? This is pertaining to my favorite football team, and there's a set number of folks who are going to be allowed into this closed door meeting, I might as well go. Because put yourself in your favorite team's shoes. If no matter what school is your favorite school, no matter what program is your favorite program, if you had the ability to find your way into the room where it happens when it comes to what is happening to your favorite team and your favorite program, would you go? Because I probably would. I don't even know if that's a probably. If I had closed up my vacuum sales, that's a low blow. If I had ended my vacuum sales business with Blake Corum, and I had the time and the energy and the effort and the finances to go to the room where it happened, yeah, I'm probably going to go. And that to me feels like, I think, the most realistic option of the three is that Conor Stallions is just a Michigan fan at heart. And if he's on the pass list to get into the room, I might as well go. Because it's just like slightly illogical, lacking self-awareness enough to make me think that like that might be the one that makes the most sense. Because I think I truly do not believe the argument that he's there as the star witness for the NCAA against Michigan, because that just does not feel like the likely outcome. That doesn't feel like that's what is the most logical. And that's what you have to, I think, do in these situations when you don't know. And I think there are a lot of people who wait with bated breath to see what is going to happen in this situation, to see what the punishment or potentially lack thereof punishment is going to be. But until that's released, all we can do is sit here and speculate. Now, speculation is fun because it doesn't cost any more to dream bigger. So you can dream about 40 scholarship reductions and every win vacated, the national championship being taken away from Michigan, and they're not going to be allowed to be on TV. I am on the record. I don't think that the punishments are going to rise to that level. I'm also on the record of I hate scholarship reductions, especially now that the House settlement has been agreed to, and there's going to be a limit on roster sizes and not scholarship limits. If you take away 30 scholarships over the course of 3 years, that's 30 kids who don't get to go to college for free. I think that sucks. And regardless of whether it's your biggest rival or whoever, I think you should think kids not getting to go to college for free because of the screw ups of adults in leadership positions. Very rarely am I going to ask you to think the same way I do, but I think you should think that sucks too. And I don't know what the perfect punishment is. I don't know what are the things that will deter programs, universities, athletic departments to act the way they're supposed to. I don't know what the perfect punishment is. But I do feel as if the wrong one is taking scholarships away, opportunities away from 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old kids. I think that sucks, and I think you should think that sucks too. But I'm an on-the-record haver. I'm an on-the-record believer that I don't think Michigan is going to get the hammer dropped on them or anything like that. I believe the hammer might be dropped on Conor Stallions, on Jim Harbaugh, on other Michigan assistants who were willing and able participant in the sign-stealing allegations and the scandal. And Michigan fans will hop in the comments and tell me, like, all of the reasons for why that's not true. It didn't happen. And if it did, it's not that big of a deal and it shouldn't matter. And it didn't affect the outcomes of the games, with a straight ass face. And that's ridiculous and preposterous. But I think the people who did it are going to be held accountable way more than the program that did it, the athletic department that condoned it, and the folks who tried to cover it up are going to be held accountable. I would imagine that Jim Harbaugh gets a 10-year show cause. I would imagine Conor Stallions gets a 10-year show cause or a lifetime show cause. But the idea that Michigan is going to get 30 scholarship reductions and a 5-year bowl ban and the national championship taken away. I don't see that happening. And I'm going to remain that way until I see the punishment happen. And I know that could be deflating for Ohio State and Big Ten fans as a whole. But that's just the truth, that I think the NCAA is a toothless organization. If this happens 15 years ago, 20 years ago, yes, I think that it is a much bigger deal, and the NCAA drops the proverbial hammer on Michigan. But it ain't 15 years ago. It ain't 20 years ago. It's today when the NCAA is essentially a middle school hall monitor. And if you think the middle school hall monitor has the ability to suspend you or make you go to alternative school or Saturday school or whatever, I think you're just kind of living in a fairyland at that point. Now, I'll wait for the NCAA to release the punishment. And really, they haven't released whether Michigan is guilty or not. We all assume so, right? The NCAA is not going to lobby 11 level 1 allegations against Michigan if they don't believe they got a real solid case. But so far, we don't even know if we got a verdict, let alone a punishment. But I don't know what it means for Conor Stallions to be in the room when it all goes down. And I don't think anybody else does either. But I want to hear from you. What do you think the punishment will be? What do you think the punishment should be for Michigan? Let me know in the comments below. That'll do it for today's episode of the Daily Huddle. Appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting all the great college football content we're pumping out. If you're listening on the podcast feed, drop a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping out the channel. I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Daily Huddle.